Hi everybody, welcome back. Okay, so this is the last stitch of your sock knitting. We're going to close up this heel with Kitchener stitch. So as I show you in the previous video, I decreased my heel to make this triangular shape, and now I'm back to the number of stitches I cast on the toe when I started knitting the toe. So now I'm ready to close this with Kitchener stitch. One thing you may want to do, especially if this is the first time you're doing Kitchener stitch, it may be a good idea to transfer all your stitches into bamboo or wooden needle, because they tend to have a little bit more resistance in terms of slipping of the stitches. So you may find it's a little helpful because stitches tend to stay better on these needles. Okay, so now let's cut this off, leaving about a foot of yarn. And then I thread my tapestry needle. Okay, then when it comes to Kitchener stitch, there's a mantra you have to repeat. And it goes knit off, purl on. Purl off and knit on. And off means, let me back up. Knit means you going with your tapestry needle into the stitch as if you are knitting that stitch. Purl means you go into the stitch as if you purl that stitch. And off means the stitch comes off the needle. And on means the stitch stays on the needle. Okay, so again the mantra is knit off, purl on, purl off, and knit on. Okay, so the first knit off and purl on, that's done on your front needle. Okay, so I go in as if I knit into the stitch, and that comes off the needle. And then next one is purl on, so you go into the next stitch as if you purl, and that stitch stays on the needle, and pull that thread through. Okay, and the second half of the mantra is purl off and knit on. So we are going into this first stitch as if we are purling that stitch, and that stitch comes off the needle. And then the next one is knit on, so you go into the next stitch as if you're knitting that stitch, and that stitch stays on the needle, and pull that thread. Okay, so we just repeat that. So the first half is on the front needle, that's knit off, and purl on. And the second half is purl off, and knit on. Okay, again comes to the front needle, it's knit off and purl on, then goes to the back needle, purl off and knit on. Okay, come back to the front, knit off, and purl on. Goes to the back, purl off, and knit on. And comes back to the front, and it will be knit off and purl on. And goes back to the back needle, and that will be purl off and knit on. And when you have only one stitch left on each needle, you just do the half of that repeat. So that will be knit off, because we don't have any more stitch to do the purl on, and goes back to the back needle and purl off, like that. Okay, so basically what Kitchener stitch does is you are creating one more row of stitching between those stitches. So you kind of get hang of it, how much you have to pull that thread. So practice makes it. Now, so you're done with the sock. Put this yarn into the back of the sock, and you can just weave it in and just, you know, finish all the ends, all ends woven in. And this was my lifeline. Luckily, I didn't have to use it, so I can put it off now. And you are done. Congratulations. And you can just wash this, and if you like, block it, or you can just dry it on the towel, and this gonna look a lot better after it's washed. So that's that for your sock. Congratulations.